fixing things. I'm fixing things. I'm fixing things. I'm fixing things. I'm gonna sell some guitars, 'cause I never play them. I'm gonna drop some words, 'cause I shouldn't say them. I'm turning off the news, 'cause I don't believe it. I'm fixing things.
Hello, everybody.
I'm fixing things.
It's Hank Linderman here on Tuesday, September 15th, in the year 2020, the year none of us are going to forget. A year that just keeps getting worse and worse and stranger and stranger. This is a nice view of the lake. I keep hoping that a boat will come by. Notice the wind is up a little bit. Can you hear a little bit of noise? I hear a boat out there somewhere. Anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And yes, Bill McNichol is here. Mark Andes is here. Cindy is here. And of course, we always need help sharing, because that's how we spread our message out there. And in fact, we also want to ask you all, if there are any of you that are willing to take on a little bit of responsibility to help us, we need folks that can help us share to specific groups, because we have groups that support us, and it's getting to be too big a thing for one person to do. So Bill McNichol's been doing it, but it's getting to be too difficult. So we would love to get some volunteers, some folks who can agree to be here. And it's best if you can share it while the event is going on, but if you can't, you can share it a little bit later. So we'll be asking you for some help. Bill is, you can see he's on the comments section, and you can send him a personal message, or Bill, if you want, you could put your email address up there if you feel like it. You all could also send an email to me, and I'm Hank at Hank4 KY, and it's always great to hear from you. So a couple other things we're going to have to talk about really quickly. One is, be sure to register. Be sure to register in Kentucky. Be sure to register. October 5th, which is coming up. That's 2 weeks and change. It's coming up really quickly. So be sure that you already are registered. If you're not already, you should just check it. And you just go to govotekentucky.com, and you'll find out whether or not you're registered. Hopefully you are. Frank White is here. Frank, I'm glad you're here. We ask you a favor, please. Share this. Share it with your friends. Do a watch party if you're really feeling good. Lots to talk about. Oh, a few other things that I'm going to be asking for help on, and I hope that Rich Campbell is going to be on here, because we're getting ready to start doing phone banking and text banking next week, and we're going to need some volunteers, people that are willing to use up a couple of hours at a time to call people and make contact with voters. It's a lot safer than going door to door. We're not doing a lot of that. So we do need some help, and Rich will be here. His email address, by the way, is rich@hank4ky.com. So Rich, I'm sure we'll put a little bit of a notification up there. So meanwhile, I guess it's time for us to do our numbers, as always. Let's have a look at where we are in the virus, and it just feels, incredibly. You just feel like I'm giving you the same news over and over again. The numbers after the weekend tend to settle down, and then they jump right back up. They haven't jumped back up this week. There's also some strangeness, because apparently somebody who's involved with Health and Human Services is claiming that that there are left-wing militias. They're going to prevent President Trump from taking. There's just some sort of craziness. I haven't looked at it too much because I don't want to give him too much airspace. By the way, Chris Pritchard's here. He already shared. Thank you, Chris, my brother. And Chris, if you didn't hear, we are looking for some people who can put a little bit of time in doing phone banking and text banking, which we're hoping will start next week. You get in touch with me at hank@hank4ky.com. So the number I want you to look at today is the total cases per million and the total deaths per million. And the United States has over 20,000 total cases per million and 600 deaths per million, because we're going to do just a momentary look at some other countries that have done so much better than us. Notice we are at 199,000 on the button total deaths. We're going to hit 200,000 this week. We were supposed to maybe, we were hoping that by that we'd hold it off until Election Day, but this is just really a bad sign. So let's look at, here we go. This is the nation I want you to look at here is Germany and Canada. And notice Germany has 3,000 cases per million. Remember, we had 20,000 cases per million, and deaths per million, 113 versus our 600. And it's important to note, Germany got their first patient before the United States did. They had less time to react. They were part of that outbreak, that European outbreak that just decimated Italy, but Germany responded more quickly. Canada apparently had a period of time where they hadn't had a death for quite some time, but it's jumped right back. But still, let's look at their numbers. Their total cases per million, 3,650, which is a lot, but certainly much less than 20,000, over 20,000 for the United States. And they have 243 deaths per million, which again is significantly less than the United States. Let's have a look at the next nation that we really want to look at. South Korea. Look at South Korea. And South Korea got their first infection the same day as the United States. I think January 20th or 21st, the same day. They responded aggressively, and look at the results that they have. Total cases per million, 435. Cases per million, less than 500. We've got 20,000 cases per million. Deaths per million, 7 versus 600. So the idea that this is something that the United States couldn't have done any better, that a different president wouldn't have done better, is just ridiculous to me. I don't agree with that one bit. Here's our current top of the charts in America, and notice that California is leading with new deaths and new cases. Texas is still leading. I'm not sure if I did not get the Kentucky cases because, again, they're lagging behind. But related to that, I'm here in Grayson County. Grayson County is in the heart of the 2nd District. There's Grayson County. You see where the number 2 is? It's just to the left of the number 2. And I'm close to the boundary with Breckenridge County. And the county seat in Grayson is Litchfield. So Litchfield and Grayson County's incidence of the disease is increasing, and the speed of it is increasing. On Monday, the Grayson County Health Department said the community spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19, is increasing in its speed. We are seeing community spread in workplace settings, churches, sports teams, homes, and family events. And health officials have said on the department Facebook page, to determine whether someone should be quarantined, you have to ask yourself, have I been in direct contact with a person who tested positive for COVID-19? If you answer yes, health officials say to then ask yourself, was I around the positive person for more than 10 minutes with less than 6 feet of distance with no mask on? If the answer is yes, then it's possible you may need to be considered a direct contact and therefore asked to quarantine. Officials said at this point, more questions will be asked to ensure a quarantine is warranted and establish just how long your quarantine needs to be. Like we say, if you're in Grayson County, count on it increasing. I'm going to show you another chart here. It's all about the charts today, folks. Sorry. This is from Johns Hopkins, and I want you to notice this is as of today. New confirmed cases per day are starting to inch back up in the United States. It's broken down. In the South, it's increasing. In the Midwest, it's increasing. In the West, it's increasing. In the North, it's not so much. But this thing is nowhere close to being finished. Okay. Unfortunately, no guest today. I did speak with Dr. Greg.
Greg Adams, good Dr. Adams, ask Dr. Greg.
And he's tied up working. He's working to save to take care of people that are sick with COVID. So he's not available today, but he's saying that next week he should be able to, and we can't wait to have him back. Barbara's here, and I know Barbara's going to share. Thanks, Barbara. Let's see, where do we go? Oh, I watched something on Netflix last night and this morning, finished watching it this morning, and I think this is something really important. There's a book that a friend gave to me, and it's one of those books that supposedly everyone was reading, but when you open it up and start to read it, you realize, wow, this is like a serious heavy-duty college textbook. And I said I was going to talk about Social Security. Oh, my goodness. I haven't talked about Social Security. We're going to get back to Netflix in a second. And I don't know that I can show you this, the headline that I have, but the headline was about President Trump and Social Security. President Trump. Right. So apparently, as a candidate, Donald Trump in 2016 promised he wouldn't cut a penny from Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. As a president, he's made mischief with the programs, threatening to undermine the promise of a secure retirement for millions of Americans. The broken pledge is another reason to put him out to pasture. By the way, this comes from the New York Daily News. You know what? I'm kind of frustrated. I want to have a look at this. Let's see if I can make this happen. If I can find the page that it is. I've got to locate this. It was from yesterday. Guess what? I think I can do it. I can. I have the technology. There's the headline. This is from the New York Daily News. So I'll go back to reading so that you all can have something nice to look at there. So in successive budgets, Trump has sought to slash billions from Social Security, billions with a B, from Social Security disability insurance and supplemental security income to programs administered by the Social Security Administration that serve millions of low-income senior citizens, adults and children with physical and mental disabilities. He's also sought cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. Fortunately, Congress hasn't gone along, not even the Republican-controlled Senate, so that's good. This year came a more devious and dishonest gambit. President Trump, dishonest?
Now wait just a damn minute.
Yeah, come on. Wait just a damn minute. Hi, Joanne. Joanne Bland is here. I'm glad you're here. Do us a favor. Share it so an angel can get their wings. Share it with your Facebook friends. So this year, President Trump had a more devious and dishonest. That seems redundant. Anyway. An attempted payroll tax cut for millions of Americans. Economists and business leaders warned it would do very little to goose growth, but the man who listens to no one pushed ahead with his fetish anyway via a unilateral executive action. Trump offered to let employers defer taxes through the end of the year with a pledge that those foregone payments would later be forgiven, which leaves two bad options. Either Trump has intentionally undermined Social Security and Medicare's finances by depleting the funds without any plan to have them paid back, or the forgiveness might not materialize. It would require an act of Congress. In other words, they're going to have to clean up his mess. He essentially set payroll taxes to double when the deferred taxes would get collected next year. So that's something, by the way, you know, we've been I've been hearing from people who have been told their housing loans have been put off, have been extended, that your payment is extended. Now, it's one thing if it's extended. In other words, it just gets added to the term and you don't get any additional interest. But if it's deferred, that means that in a few months, after 6 months of deferment, if your payment is $3,000 a month, you're going to owe $18,000. And that will come as an alarm. Hopefully that's not the case. Anyway, big companies are not signing on to this. Neither are Republican governors. The Daily News editorial board says we want rational reform of retirement programs. I don't like the sound of that, but Trump's not a good faith reformer. He's a disingenuous hatchet man. Get him out. Well, that's actually pretty encouraging to hear that the New York Daily News, which has, we got some other news. I got something to show you, I guess. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the nope button. I might not have the nope button. I need the nope button. Okay, I don't have the nope button. Rich is there sharing a link that's very important, and it's related to the nope button. I'm going to try and find one so you can look at it. I'm the producer. I'm the candidate. I'm the engineer. It's just incredible. Let's look in Manicam media files. Nope. In JPEG. Okay, great. I can show this to you. So that's on number 6. Sorry about all this kerfuffle. Anyway, nope is the button that we came up with in our campaign. It means no plastics in my environment. I think, I'm not wearing my nope button. I've got some handy. Here's one here. Here's one. Here's one. You wear this to the grocery store, and it reminds you, instead of getting the jug of milk, you get the carton of milk. It tells you that when you can, you avoid buying products that are in single-use plastics. Well, Rich has set up a Facebook page that needs some more likes so that we can get a badge. I don't think it's going to take too many, but if you all would please look at the Nope Facebook page and give us a like. It's very important, and that'll help Rich out quite a bit. Well, let's get back to the stories we're going to be talking about. I told you about watching a movie last night, and it's based on this book, Capital in the 21st Century by Thomas Piketty. So here's a screenshot from it. That's Professor Thomas Piketty. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. He's French, and I believe he got the Nobel Prize for this book. A friend gave me the book. I can't get through it. I'm struggling to be able to read it. It's a big book. Anyway, the idea of this, some of the ideas of the book are pretty easy to understand. And one of the big ones is that after World War II, America's economy and social structure were flattened. And as we rebuilt the economy, we didn't have any money. We owed money to pay off the war debt and so on. So we had to have high taxes for people that were very wealthy. And I believe the highest marginal tax rate under President Eisenhower after World War II was 90%. And I can't remember what you got to earn your first $5 or $10 million, but after that you got taxed 90%. This meant that companies, rather than paying that much money, more than $10 million a year to a CEO, could say, it's a waste. You're going to give it all the way to the government. So it meant that corporations could pay their workers more money. They could invest in R&D. They could build more factories. And this led to the greatest industrial growth the planet has ever seen. And as productivity increased, as we got better at building things and got more efficient at it, workers got paid more. Owners made more and more, but all of this went up in parallel. As productivity went up, workers and owners shared. Owners got the most of it, but workers were included. And to the point that sorry, I lost my train of thought because Randy has asked me to make a promo about our guest Thursday, so I will talk about that. Anyway, the point is that as we grew as a nation, people who worked benefited, and people who owned the businesses benefited, but that came apart in the 80s, and that's one of the things that Thomas Piketty talks about. So I'm going to share with you, I tried to share a little bit of video, but I was unable to do it. So what I'm going to do is show you one of the things they talked about. And there was a section where they had a researcher was talking about bringing in hundreds of people and studying them playing Monopoly, but they made a change to Monopoly. The first thing they did was they flipped a coin. And based on how the coin flip fell, you were either a rich player or a poor player, and you only played against one other person. So the rich player, when he passed go, he or she passed go, they'd get $200. The poor player, when they passed go, would get $100. The rich player, when it was their turn, got to use both of the dice. The poor player only got to use one. Now, here's what happened, because I think this is just fascinating. So here you go. Within a couple of minutes, some dynamics start to crystallize. And the rich players start to behave a little bit differently as the game goes on. The rich players start to eat more pretzels. And you can see in the video some of, they show you these folks that are starting to, as they play the game, they eat more and more pretzels. Let's see, what's the next thing that happens? What do you want to guess? Oh, they get noisier as they move their pieces around. And as they move their piece, they kind of, they tap their piece as they go around the board, which is pretty interesting, I think. So they get a bit more aggressive. Let's see, what else? They get significantly ruder. They start to make comments like, wow, I'm doing really great. You're going to lose everything. So, you know, that's a little bit tough. But then, so they become less compassionate. And look at the smile on the face of the rich player. I'm going to get myself out of the way. The rich player is on the right and the poor player is on the left. Look at the smile on the face. And so then, here we go. You see people who are winning because of the flip of a coin. That's the researcher who conducted this. He said, none of the people, and he said we tested hundreds of people, none of them said, oh, well, it's because you flipped the coin and I won the coin toss. I got twice as much each time I played. No, they thought that they deserved it. They thought that they deserved to win. And none of them acknowledged that luck had something to do with it. And there's some comparison that goes to this relating to the way wealthy people behave in society. And that's what Piketty talks about. You would think that those with more would be more generous, but that is not actually what happens. So in response to Randy, by the way, two things to mention. In response to the idea about what was the maximum amount of money you could earn in the 50s before you hit that 90% tax rate. You could earn $2 million a year, and that came from Pam. Thanks, Pam. And Randy Birchfield says, could you make a promo post to share about your guest on Thursday? So I don't have Mark's picture handy. Let me see if I can grab that quickly. We're going to have Mark LaPalme. And Mark LaPalme is the founder and leader of a group, of a rehab organization called Isaiah House. And Mark and I, you know, I was fortunate to get invited. I'm looking for his picture right now to see if I can get this over to us. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can drag this. This is a real test of my abilities right here, I've got to tell you. Let's see if I got him. I didn't quite get him. Let's see. I think I got him now. Okay, here he is, number 6. There's Mark LaPalme. So Mark is going to be our guest on Thursday, and he's going to talk about addiction. He's going to talk about rehab. This is not going to be, you know, we're not going to be able to talk in 20 minutes and give us a complete idea. This is one of the most difficult issues facing the United States and certainly facing Kentucky. So I'm looking forward to having Mark, and I'm really already anticipating that Mark may be coming back, but we'll be talking about that. And in deference to David Royce, who's here with us all the time, one of the things I believe as a candidate is that we've got to stop the rate of death. We've got to stop the way that people die from overdoses, and particularly related to opioids. And the way that they do this in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, is they give a safe, predictable dose to people who register as addicts. And this cuts the death rate from about 270 per million a year in Kentucky to 11 per million. And that's a massive, massive difference. I'm not quite sure how Mark feels about that. I mentioned it to him, but that'll be one of the things we discuss. I'll be very interested to hear from him. Mark will have a lot to say about that. The name of the movie, again, let me have a quick, see if I can get this back up on the screen. The name of the movie is Capital in the 21st Century. It is on Netflix. So be sure you get to see that. I've got one final thing I want to remind you all. Please, we do need some help. Bill McNichol needs some help. If there are those of you that are here and are willing, you've got enough Facebook expertise to be able to share we'll select 5 or 10 groups for you to share to directly that'll help our viewership. And we do need some help with that. You can reach out to Bill here directly. You can also reach out to Rich Campbell, and Rich is rich@hankforkentucky.com. I'm not sure if Bill's got a bill at hankforkentucky.com, but you can reach out to Bill directly here, or you can send me an email if you'd like to be helpful in that. We need all sorts of folks. Now, would anybody like to see a promotional video? We've got a video that has not been shown before that I would like to share with you all. And this is the guy that I'm running against. I think you might be interested in seeing this, seeing what we're up against. His name is Brett Guthrie. People like him. He's a very nice guy. But let's be clear, he gets most of his contributions from corporate-related contributors, over 80% of them. So we're going to show you a video. This hasn't been shown before. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back to say goodbye after that.
America is great again. America is great again.
Nearly 2/3 of all American voters have said they are not better off in Trump's America. America's great again? Wait, who's America's great again? When Brett Guthrie came to Congress, his personal wealth was below the median for other House members, estimated a total of $500,000. While other House members' median wealth remained flat, Guthrie's personal wealth skyrocketed to an estimated $7,600,000 in 2018. Meanwhile, the quality of education in the state of Kentucky ranks 45th lowest in the nation. And according to the Wallet Hub, Kentucky has one of the worst economies in the U.S. Trump's America is great for Guthrie, but Guthrie is wrong for Kentucky.
I'm Hank Linderman, and I approve this message.
All right. By the way, thank you for watching that. That's the kind of thing we're up against here. We have a Congress that's filled with professional politicians that have gotten really good at collecting money from corporations. And when they go to vote, they, of course, vote the way the corporations want them to vote. This is why we need more people who work. I worked for a living. I only worked for a living. I wrote a few songs that earned a little bit of money, but it wouldn't have paid a phone bill for a month or two. So anyway, and we've talked before about the things that I am in favor of. The biggest way to talk about that is the Contract for Rural and Working America. There it is right there. So we do have a positive message about where we need to move forward. We definitely need rural America and working America to be paid attention to by Congress. At the moment, we are not doing a great job for them. And John Alma Barnett is here. I'm so glad to see you here. John Alma's going to do me a favor and share it. Thank you all for enjoying that. It is getting to be time, folks. We're going to have to do a bunch of work to be able to prevail. The most important thing is we really need to get a different president put in office. And however you feel, I'm one of those that wanted Bernie. I was a Bernie supporter. I contributed to him. He was my first choice. Joe Biden's not my first choice. And I think for a lot of people, he wasn't necessarily the first choice. He's my first choice now, because I don't believe we can go much, much further with a wrecking ball being taken to our institutions, to our Congress, to the Supreme Court, to the ways that we should be doing business in the United States. So I'm asking for your help. Contributions are really, really helpful. And by the way, we're going to be doing a virtual fundraiser coming up, and we'll be having musicians perform. We'll have various personalities hopefully come on and say hello. And that'll be coming up within the next 2 weeks. And it'll be great if you all can help us, not only by contributing, but by sharing that. So anyway, that's it. That's about all I've got to say today. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for being part of this. This is Getting Angry, which means, it's okay to get angry, but you don't have to act like a damn fool. You can use your anger to store up and get some determination, get ready to do the right thing, help other people vote. Remember, if you're in Kentucky, you got to be registered by October 5th. Go vote KY.com. Thank you all. I will talk to you all later. See you tomorrow.